Howdy everyone, Andy here from Team Completed It. Just wanted to give a big shout out to our supporters and sponsors over at My Hero UK. My Hero UK is a one-stop shop app for all your comic book needs. Buy, sell, trade, amazing service over at My Hero UK. Head on over to your app store, type in My Hero UK, download the app, and the boys will take care of the rest. If you want to check them out, go to www.myherouk.co.uk. Thanks for the support, boys, and enjoy the show. Hey everybody, welcome back to Completed It. We are back for another episode, and I am flying solo for this one. I'm your host, Andy Burrows, and I have the privilege of saying that today we have one of the biggest YouTubers around joining us, a man who has crafted out a position for himself in the industry like no other, and for a love of a movie franchise that you are not going to believe. I am very honored and pleased to say joining us is David from Today I Grew Up. David, how are you,
Hello.
sir? All the way from the US of A.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on. It's always fun to come on and talk to people about, what I do, why I do what I do. So yeah, we can discuss whatever you want. Toy Story 5's coming, so this is a great year for Toy Story fans.
Yeah, this is going to be good. I mean, we had John Morris on a couple of weeks ago
Right.
talking all things Toy Story, the voice of Andy.
Awesome.
And yeah, I found it. I watched one of his videos on your channel. David, let's talk briefly about the love of Toy Story and what led you to YouTubing. We're always really we like looking into people's journeys and what they've done. We had Sam McMurray on
Oh, cool.
last weekend who played Chandler Bing's boss, and he told us how he got into acting. And we've had various YouTubers on. How did it all start for you, my friend? First of all, the love of the franchise. I watch your channel quite a lot. You love Toy Story,
Appreciate
my
it.
man. You
For
love it.
sure.
How did the love start? Before we get into the YouTube side of it, was it just a fan of the first movie and you took it from there?
Sure. So I think there's a lot of layers to how I got where I came into for this whole thing. But I mean, I always loved the movie since it came out. I was a little kid. I saw Toy Story. I loved it. There was no immediate need for me to like buy toys. Number one, my family was not very we didn't have a lot of money. Let's just say we were very on survival mode. So I wasn't able to afford any toys or buy any toys. I always wanted them, but I just grew up with the love and passion for the movies. And not until I became an adult with like adult money, I was able to finally get the toys I always wanted. But by that time, they came out with better toys. So, but my love for Toy Story came from the art of the characters, the stories that they kept releasing. Me following Andy's timeline because I was very much like Andy's age. Like by Toy Story 3, I was in college like Andy. So
Hmm.
it hit very close to home for me in that way. I don't know. It's just really hard to put it into a little summary of why I love it so much, but there's just something about it that I resonate with, which is like friendship, togetherness. I identify myself like Woody kind of and Buzz in some ways, so it's cool to like apply my personal life with what I see on screen. So
Yeah, most definitely. What doors do you think Toy Story as a franchise opened? Because it was probably it's one of the first movies that I certainly remember seeing as a kid, and it's where we are now in 2026 with all the Pixar stuff that's come out, and we're of a generation now where some people don't remember Toy Story being like the very first one that a generation grew up with. What do you think that the doors were that Toy Story opened for movies going forward?
I think, well, obviously, I think the success of the story and also the actors, like when you have Tim Allen and Tom Hanks involved, there is some magic that happens there. I remember seeing the recording sessions, and it sparks a lot of joy within people because it takes everybody back to childhood or nostalgia or whatever that feeling is. And growing up with the movies, each one got better in my opinion. Like Toy Story 2, in my opinion, is miles better from Toy Story 1. That's just how I
Yeah.
feel. And it just kind of kept building this mountain. I think in life, that's kind of how things go. If it's really good or it's worth producing, you're gonna bear fruit from it. And I think something like Toy Story is so powerful. It's like Star Wars, right? It's become another legacy film franchise or it's hard to put into words, like I said, to describe it, but I understand the love for it and the passion for it. And that's why I came along, because I was like, you know what? We need more love for Toy Story in the internet space on YouTube. And so that's where I started like really shining in that arena.
Let's talk about that before we do
Yeah.
some more movie talk. Obviously, you set up Today I Grew Up, the YouTube
Hmm.
channel that like I say, it's got over 176,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
You've done hundreds and hundreds of thousands of videos.
Yeah.
Was it just a
Over a
case of
thousand.
was it just a case of you wanting to take your fandom onto YouTube and say, hey, look, let's see what I mean, we do it here. We talk movies, we interview celebrities, we do Marvel, we
Hmm.
do DC, we do Star Wars, we do everything over
Right.
here. It was just a case of like three mates and three friends just saying, hey, look, let's take it to YouTube and we talk about it all the time. Why don't we just put it on YouTube? How did it start from you, from where you very first were at YouTube to where you are now?
Yeah, for sure. It definitely started as a more personal endeavor to begin with. I never sought out to like start a community. I just was collecting what I loved. My first video was a Back to the Future hoverboard prop. I love movie accurate props, so I started collecting those and some toy lines. I did collect some Indiana Jones, Back to the Future, another franchise I love, Jurassic Park, Jurassic World toys and things like that. And then Toy Story, when John Lasseter announced the collection line in 2009. I was like, oh, that's a movie inspired replica. I need all those Toy Story toys. And then I started sharing them online and it just started blowing up. And eventually I realized, hey, it's not no longer about me and my collection. Let's build a community collection. So I started building that platform for a space for people to, like-minded like me. Hey, let's create movie accurate props for Toy Story because nobody's actually done that. So I was one of the first people on the internet to like modify Woody, right, to make him look like the movie because the toy companies didn't get him right. So that really kind of launched me to another level. And then I realized, okay, it's not about me anymore; it's about this community, and I'm a leader for it now. So I got to focus on Toy Story because I want people to find joy and positivity in my videos, and it's kind of this mutual love. So I love giving the fans what they want, I guess you could say.
Yeah, no, most
But
definitely.
yeah,
One of your videos you mentioned like that you were doing YouTube full time now.
yeah,
Just
full time.
explain to the people watching this how hard that kind of thing is. People say to me all the time, I've been podcasting and YouTube since about 2020. And
Hmm.
everyone's very like, "Oh, are you making loads of money out of that?" And you're like, "No." I think people just think you hit record, and all of a
Yeah,
sudden, like the money start. And I've had countless, honestly, Dave, I've had
yeah,
countless conversations with people saying, if only it was that easy, then half the
yeah,
world would be hitting record, and we'd all be doing YouTube. They
right.
don't see the countless hours of editing, or whether it's you're constantly emailing guests, you're
Yeah.
constantly thinking of new content to do.
Hmm.
So when you made the choice to go full time and do the YouTube as your full time job, what were the main risks that you were worried about, and how have you found it going full time on YouTube now? Is there any advice you'd give people that want to do it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it takes a lot of things to, like you said, to make it where I'm at now. I've been self-employed 5 years and the money is really good in terms of like I'm not rich, but I live well. I live
Mhm.
comfortable. I'm able to make a living off of what I do. And but also I always tell people like it's got to be a passion, it's got to be a love because if you don't love something enough, you're gonna hate it, you're gonna burn out. Like
Yeah,
yeah, and I think that's the balance. Like if you're doing something you love, just do it because you love it. For me, it's a little different because it's like, well, I also have to make money because this is how I pay my bills. So
yeah.
there is a little hustle on my part to open up other revenue streams. But most of my income does come from YouTube directly through the Google AdSense program. But I also make money now with sponsorships and other things like my website. I generate sales on my website. I have other like revenue streams that I open up with what I do. TikTok, for example, pays me money as well. So I make money in other arenas, which is nice. Instagram and Facebook pay me a little bit as well. So it's always nice to like, open that up, but it's
Mm.
definitely scalable and possible. But I was a marriage family therapist for like 10 years. I have a master's degree in psychology and a bachelor's in psychology. I was a full-time therapist. I was also a musician, so I had a band on the weekends. And so I was just going hard. And then I was like, hey, I want to do YouTube videos. So I would literally like, I can't even tell you, I didn't really sleep that much, but I would like go to work 9 to 5, come home, shoot my YouTube videos, go to band practice, come back home, like edit some videos for YouTube for the morning, and then sleep, do it all over again. And I did that for
Um,
years until I finally was like, all right, I'm ready to quit. because I'm gonna burn out if I don't, after
Oh, I know that
hustling.
feeling.
So it took me 2 years of that rigorous, like working nonstop to make it. And then, but I've been on YouTube 10 years. So it was a gradual thing,
Yeah.
So then I was able to finally make a living and I quit my job responsibly because I was making more on YouTube than I was at my job. So that's when I basically quit responsibly. And then that's how I never looked back. I'm my own boss. I'm never going to go back to the 9 to 5. For me, I realized it wasn't for me. I still love helping people, but I just do it in different ways now with music and with YouTube. So I'm a full-time YouTuber and musician basically, and that's it now. And I
Well,
make enough money to survive. So it's good.
that's an incredible story. I mean,
Yeah.
like I say, people say to me all the time, and like I've only been really doing YouTube since 2020. Completed it is just
Yeah.
over a year old now. We hit 1 year at the beginning of January.
Hmm.
And that hits home with me when you say things like I work I start between 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. in the morning,
Yeah.
and
Right.
I work till
Yeah.
5 o'clock in the evening, and then you come
Hmm.
home and you've got a wife and you've got kids and you've got
Yeah.
family and you've got life.
Yeah.
But the biggest comment I get from people is like, "Hey Andy, when do you sleep?" And I'm like, I've arranged interviews for like 2, 3, 4 in the morning because they're on the
Yeah.
West Coast or so and
Right.
so can't do it on here. So I get the hustle and I get the hard graft
Yeah.
that you've put in, and it's a great step that you've taken. What
Yeah.
advice
Thank
do you
you.
give to people about the YouTube world? Like I just mentioned, I get so many people ask me all the time. I've got people that have started podcasts and YouTube channels, and they're like, "Hey Andy, I've started it like a month ago, and no one's listening." I'm like, "Well, you've started a
Yeah.
month ago. That's why."
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they.
Exactly.
I keep
Exactly.
saying to people, it's like you don't hit record and automatically like,
Boom.
I
Yeah.
get happy when like a couple of hundred people might watch a video. And I said at
Yeah.
the
That's good.
start, don't get disheartened just because
Yeah.
you've got 40, 50 people downloading your video. That's 40, 50 people that have watched something you've done. And in
Yeah.
6 months' time, you'll have 150 people. Then you'll have
Yeah.
200 people. So what advice do you give to people when they say to you like about the whole YouTube situation?
So this is my advice. I always say you have to have passion and love for what you do. Don't just go into it saying, I'm going to do this to make money or I'm going to do this to do this full time. That's going to actually make you crash and burn faster. I would say you need to be consistent. You need to do something you love and treat it as a hobby. That's how I would do it. Obviously there's elements to treat it like a business, but you got to start it as a hobby because if
Hmm.
people don't feel your passion through the lens or feel your interest in what you're doing, people are going to recognize that and be like, I don't know if this guy's genuine, right? Or person or whoever is genuine. So I always say take the genuine approach, the honest approach. People know I'm very passionate about the toys and they feel that, So I continue on that track. But yeah, of course, the money thing is nice and it's helpful and it helps me continue what I do. But for me, the end goal is really just building my community and keeping my community long term. So I would say if you're going to go into YouTube to do something public in a public space or forum, you have to be comfortable and passionate about what you do, and then also be mindful of your audience because at a certain point, it doesn't become about you anymore. It becomes
Hmm.
about the audience that you build.
100%. Yeah.
And I've had to cater to that, and I think that's a good thing because for me, I did want to lead a community. I didn't know I was going to do that, but I fell into that, and so now I take that with a badge of responsibility, and I'm like, you know what, if I'm a leader in this space, I'm going to give my fans the best from me that I can possibly give. And so that's my focus is how can I make the fans smile today or happy this week? So it's a really fun mutual love, and I'm having a great time doing it. And I still love the toys and I'm still passionate about it. And I think even though, yes, I've made a lot of money on the channel and I've made a living, at the end of the day, that doesn't bring me joy. What brings me joy is the community
What
that
you
I
do,
built,
yeah.
really. So yeah, what I do. And I feel like if you love something so much, it doesn't feel like work. But
Mm.
let me tell you, if you want to be a YouTuber, it is a lot of work. There's
Oh,
marketing.
dude.
There's
Oh.
it's just like an endless list of, yeah, I can take people to school for hours about that. It's just a
Ah,
long
dude,
thing.
yeah, we'll
So,
we'll chat off air about some of the stuff
yeah, it's a
that
lot
you
of
do.
work.
Trust me, dude.
Yeah,
Like I say, I get it all
you
the time,
understand. You get
dude.
it.
Honestly, like, I have to wear these glasses because the bags under these eyes,
Yeah,
it gets me.
yeah,
But
for
Dave,
sure.
let's talk a little bit more about Toy
Yeah.
Story. Obviously they've done the first three movies, and it was incredible, and everyone
Mhm.
loved it, and we thought, right, we're done. All of a sudden, Toy Story 4 comes out.
Mhm.
What was your opinion when they'd done the three and everyone's thinking, oh, it's perfect. They've wrapped it up. It's really good. And then all of a sudden, years later, you're like, oh, we're getting Toy Story 4, and now we're getting Toy Story 5.
Mhm.
Do you, and there's certain franchises, I don't know if you've checked out a lot of our channel, but we talk a lot of Star Wars on here and Star Trek,
Yeah.
etc. And
I love Star Wars too.
yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah.
but the biggest arguments or discussions we have on this channel, should they have stopped at the original three? Should they have stopped after Revenge of the Sith? But then you're like, well, hang on a minute, then I want to see what
Mhm.
happens. And you've got all the animated. Was it the point with Toy Story that they got to three, and then you're like, hey, this is a movie that we've given to one generation.
Right.
People like me and you, we've grew up with Toy
Hmm.
Story. You mentioned it's part of your journey, and you
Yeah.
resonate with Toy Story. Was it the fact that it got to three, and then they were thinking about four, and they're like, hang on a minute, we can take this to a whole new bunch of kids, bunch
Right.
of young
Right.
adults. I mean,
Hmm.
did you see them doing four and five? Should they had stopped at three? Because four got mixed reactions when it come out. I
Hmm.
remember watching four, and I remember thinking, "This is hey, I really enjoy this." And you think some people are like, they should have stopped at three, but
Yeah.
now everyone's hyped for five. How do you think a franchise like Toy Story find the fine line between making a movie because it's Toy Story and
Hmm.
making a movie because it's really good?
Well, here's one of the things that I obviously, like you mentioned, there's a big split in the community where it's like Star Wars now. Toy Story is the new Star Wars franchise where you're gonna have people who want the original three movies as a trilogy, and you're like, anything outside three, I hate or I don't want it. And then you're gonna have other people like me who are like, the more the merrier. Like I don't mind new school Toy Story after three. You know what I mean? Give me nine movies. I'm that kind of person. But I understand why some people might not feel that way. But I honestly, this is why I feel like every movie is still great in my opinion, is because you have the right people involved. Like for this movie, Toy Story 5, we have Pete Docter, who has been at Pixar since the beginning. He
Hmm.
was the voice of Zurg. He's one of our favorite like people there at Pixar, and so it's cool that he still cares about Toy Story that much. That he's so as long as I think it's in the good hands and they have a good story to tell, I personally have no problems with like a Toy Story 9 or a Toy Story origin story one day or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I even want a Disney
TV
Plus
TV
show.
show.
Would be
Yeah,
cool.
that was going to be one of my
More
questions.
shorts,
Could
right?
it go into like a TV show?
It could. I think anything is possible. And like Star Wars, you know how there's infinite characters?
Hmm.
I feel like Toy Story has become that it could be an infinite character type situation, you know?
Mm.
It's like there's always a new toy to find. Like in Toy Story 4, I remember when they went into that little vintage antique store and then they went into that little jukebox thing and then you found Duke Kaboom and then you started looking around. There's just so many characters in there. You can always make a side quest with something, you know, like I would want to see a whole movie about Wheezy, what happened to
True.
him,
Yeah.
things like that. It's just kind of endless, I feel like. So I personally want more. And I understand though, for people who may not want it more, Toy Story 4 was a very controversial film because not everybody understood the depth of it. I think there was a lot of good to it. There's also parts of it that didn't feel like a Toy Story movie, in my opinion. It felt like a short more than a
Okay.
full feature film, in my opinion. But I still appreciated the story. But I honestly think Toy Story 5, the way they've set it up so far, is probably going to be closer to Toy Story 2, which is my personal favorite movie.
Mm.
So I'm really excited for 5 because it's about Jesse. We're going back to like original characters. We're also hearing that it's about, Buzz and the 50 commemorative Buzz Lightyear is taking over. And then there's tech versus toys, which is kind of modern to our time in 2026, which I appreciate. Kids are not playing with toys as much anymore. The toy market sales are coming from adults now, like us, who support the toy
You're
industry.
not wrong there, my friend.
So it's just like it's very cool to kind of modernize, have Toy Story still grow with us, I feel like, and especially people like me who have been around since the first movie. I don't know. I keep growing with the films, and I don't abandon it. I still enjoy everything, but I know I'm unique. Not everybody feels that way. So
No,
that's just how I feel.
Dave, one of the questions I
Yeah.
remember growing up, and when a movie, obviously I grew up in the 80s and the 90s, and it was very different when a movie come out. There was a
Yeah.
clamor for toys.
Hmm.
And if we just saw the trailer for He-Man drop, I remember when
Yeah.
the original He-Man toys were out, and I remember when the original Power Ranger toys were out. But do you think not that that's leaving the industry now, because I think toy marketing will always be a powerful tool
Yeah.
for TV shows, for movies.
Hmm.
But you made a good point there. The world that we live in now and the modern day world, heck, me and you are sitting here doing a podcast. You're the other side of the world and I'm here and we're doing
Hmm.
it
Yeah,
like
true.
we're doing it like we're sitting in the same room.
Right.
Do you think marketing now for movies has changed dramatically so much from the 80s, the 90s, and even the early
Hmm.
2000s when it was like, hey, we're getting Toy Story 1. Here's all this merchandise, purely toys. Now you get it. It's all, there's this digital version of this, there's this digital version of that.
Yeah.
How do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing for the future of, I don't know, I guess our children and our children's children, because you look around the world now and it's not gone are the days really of kids clambering to go to the toy stores. I mean, over here in the UK, we have like all our Toys R Us
Yeah.
stores have gone. They've gone pretty much all over. There's a couple
Yeah.
coming back, but what do you think the future like? You review. I mean, I watched
Yeah.
your Mattel Buzz Lightyear Galactic.
Oh, thanks for watching that.
I watched the
Yeah.
review. I watched the review
It's my new video.
3 or 4 days ago, and I
Yeah.
thought it was brilliant. And that got me
Yeah.
thinking is the world of quote unquote toys leaving us, or are we just tinkering it a little bit to what me and you might know?
I think it's not leaving us because the statistics show in the last 3 years that the toy market has actually boomed in $1 billion revenue amongst adult collectors as well. So it's if anything, we're actually seeing an increase in toy sales the last few years. But I will say though, it's when you're talking about like promoting a movie and then milking a franchise and like producing toys for a movie that's coming out in a few months. I see a big flaw. So I want a middle ground. I want the excitement of the 80s and 90s, right? But I also want like the quality of the 80s and 90s because the
Mm,
quality has just gone down. Like we're paying more money for quality that's right here versus like 80s and 90s, the quality was way up here.
yeah.
But they also didn't have the technology to make the toys look as great as we can now, right? So there's a real struggle for me to see that balance. But I think a good example would be the Hammond collection line that we've gotten from Mattel. They've done a great job with the Hammond collection line, and it blows me away. The details are there, the quality is there for the most part for what you pay for. And I feel like if Toy Story got the same treatment, we could get see amazing things too. But the problem is with Toy Story, people treat it as a kid's toy line or not really for adult collectors. And that's
Mm.
why I've come into the space to tell people, hey, adult Toy Story collectors exist, and we will drop serious money for a
Oh,
more high-end prop. You know what I mean? So,
dude, adults buy.
yeah, so that's what
I'm
I'm trying to do.
I'm sitting here with a WWE Roman Reigns,
There you go.
figure.
That's
But
awesome. Yeah, it's great.
do you think that it is? How do you define from kids buying toys to collectors? I mean, you mentioned
Yeah.
that adult collectors. I get it all the time. Like, oh, why are you buying another Funko Pop? Or I collect comic. I collect comics still,
Yeah,
and I
right.
chat to
Cool.
people doing this. That like you know, I'm big into my DC and my Marvel, but mainly I get a lot of the Superman action comics, the
Oh,
action hero
nice.
comics. I've collected them for absolute years and years.
Amazing.
Is it a thing now that more adults are there for the pure collecting side point of it. You know, what I mean, and you've got an amazing collection there. What you
Thank
do,
you. I appreciate
and
it.
you review all that, and I think it's good to see people like yourself review toys and etc etc like well because when we were kids and why wouldn't you want to play with toys now it's more
Right.
based on the collection are you finding in the community that you've got that there are far more adults that are like hey look I'm getting this I'm keeping it in the box and no one's ever touching this how is your community with the toy collecting.
This is why I like to quote unquote play with my toys on camera still because I want to tell people like, anybody's free to do what they wish. There's some people who do just put it on the shelf and it collects dust. For me, I actually like to move them around and make scene recreations from the movie. I also like to do some toy photography sometimes. So I think it's cool. Like, it's true. Most of the time people don't take advantage of their, I don't know, 22 points of articulation, right? But I think for the most part, I think some of us do, like me. I'm an out of box collector and in box, but I always buy two for that reason most of the time where I can, so I can open the toy and handle it. Because for me, it brings that extra layer of magic to me and like childhood nostalgia. And what a conversation piece, right? When someone comes over, I want to show you that my Buzz can shoot a laser from his arm into the wall, and you can see that. Like for me, it's like cool to access things like that. Like check this out. It just brings me joy, and I think that kid-like part of me never ended. It's not like off camera I'm just playing with toys in my room. That's not either. But I don't judge people who do that. But
Oh, there's people
but
that there's a YouTube channel for that. Trust me.
but I have fun. That's the whole thing, and I have fun on my channel, and I let people know, hey, you're never too old to have fun. I do see kids still love toys. I still see the toy aisles when I go to Target or Walmart full of kids running around and wanting these toys. So I don't see a shortage of it yet. I think there's some good parents coming out now studying the research of like how
Hmm.
electronics harm their children's developing brains.
Oh, yes.
And so I always try to encourage like parents where I see them, and even with my own kid, I have a kid. I let them know like, hey, look, use your imaginative play. Like this is fun, and they get more joy from playing with a toy than just a zombie in front of a screen. So it doesn't mean TV is bad, but it's just you got to balance it, you know? So
I, you lead me on to my final question, David.
yeah,
Toy Story 5 are going to try and lean on that because, there's iPads and tablets and as
right.
characters in there versus the toys that we grew up with. How much of Toy Story 5 do you think is going to be a movie, but is also going to be a message to the modern world?
I think the message is pretty loud and clear already from what I've seen and what I heard from the interviews. Even Tim Allen said on a talk show recently, he had let the host know that this is we're trying to be, he said, we're gonna really try to tell people about the message about how we want kids to play with toys again. That's basically what he said. And he said that he wants that message to get out there in the movie. That's the message, it's like, hey kids, like get back into imaginative play, like Andy, remember those sequences with Andy in the movies where he just,
Hmm.
oh, I have 5 minutes, huh? And he comes up with these really cool stories that are like larger than life. Imaginative play, I think, speaks to not only kids but adults as well. Like a lot of us daydream and things too, and it's so cool that it sparks creativity and joy in people. And so that's why toys are awesome because not only do they spark joy and creativity in kids' minds, they spark joy and creativity in adults' minds. I know
Yeah.
that's true for me. So I think that's awesome. And I think Toy Story 5 will be preachy in that way, but not too. I think they're going to do a good job balancing, and they're going to give us a story that's going to be fun, action-packed. I see the adventure aspects of it already. There's going to be some like shocking moments. Pete Docter, the CEO of Pixar, had told us that we're going to see things we've never seen before. So that's always exciting to hear that statement, because that means anything's possible. So I'm really
Mm.
excited for it. And I think it's going to be epic. And I'm gonna be out there searching every toy for the toy line. I'm gonna be out there. My birthday's in June, so I'm gonna make my birthday
Oh,
party a Toy Story 5 party. So I'm
nice. I
gonna go
like
to the
it.
theater with my family. I'm gonna vlog things, and just stay tuned to my channel because I have a lot of Toy Story 5 content planned for the next few months, and anything is possible. Like I'm just so excited for what's gonna happen next. Who knows? Maybe I can make it to the premiere for Toy Story 5. That's kind of what I'm
Oh, that
working on
would
right
be
now. So
awesome, my friend. That would
kind of
be
working on
awesome.
that. So yeah.
Well, you're definitely welcome on our review show when we sit down
Yeah,
and review Toy
appreciate
Story 5.
it. Yeah.
David, just finishing up, my friend. Tell the people
Yeah.
watching this that are watching and completed it where they can find you, my friend.
Yeah, so everything is easy. It's the same handle wherever you go, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. I recommend those three platforms is where I'm most active. Today I grew up, one word, just how it sounds. Today I grew up, and you'll be able to find all my social media. I'm always uploading on YouTube every week, Instagram daily. TikTok, I do like a few times a month when I get to it. So, but I'm always out there. I got a lot of content. Like you said, I've got thousands of videos at this point everywhere. So go watch me. It's a fun time, I promise. If you love Toy Story, you're gonna love it. That's all I can say.
David, awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, David, thank you so much for taking the time to
Yeah, of
jump on
course.
our channel, my friend. We really do appreciate it. We'll put a link in the description to David's YouTube as well, but make sure
Awesome.
you go and check out Today I Grew Up. Anyone wanting to check out our content that hasn't previously seen us before, just go onto YouTube, type in Completed It Podcast. Our Sam McMurray interview is out now. He was in Kings of Queens. He played Chandler Bing's boss
Awesome.
in Friends. Coming up this Friday, we sat down with one of the writers from Star Trek Starfleet Academy about the brand new Paramount Plus hit show. That we had a great insight to the new Star Trek. We've got loads of other content coming up soon, but make sure you do check us out on all social media. Just type in Completed It Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. But we'll be back on Friday with another show. David, keep up the good work, my man. It's been an
Thanks, man.
absolute pleasure to meet you. Like I say, we'll be back later in the week. But till next time, everybody, thanks for tuning in and stay safe.
Take care. Bye.